So thank you again, Tim, for joining us today on Margarita Mondays.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. How long have you lived in Concord?
Oh goodness. I have lived in Concord for the last 14 years now.
Okay.
So moved here right after college, and my wife is originally from Concord, so she
Okay.
grew up. She born and raised in Concord. Her grandparents from Concord, and so after college, we met in college. We were married just towards the tail end of college, and then when it was kind of time to move home, we looked at both where I was from, which was San Leandro, and Concord, and we landed on Concord, and so have been here ever since. And
That's a
it's
good
been
choice.
awesome. Yeah, well, it's awesome too because my mother and father-in-law live right around the corner, and
Right.
it's been wonderful. So
Which is also nice then for the kids too to grow
hmm
up with family around.
yep, yep, and it's great too because grandma and grandpa live right across the street from school. There's
Oh,
all kinds of good things that happen.
that's even better.
Yeah, so it's been cool.
So you are a fellow Hornet. I went to Sac State as well. We always say Stingers up.
That's it. Yep.
What did you study in college?
So I studied strategic management and marketing, and then I also did a minor in government. And
Okay.
so, yeah, so it was a lot of fun. So, I mean, besides doing the double major thing, I always knew I wanted to be kind of that business administration area.
Okay.
And, but along the way, I had the opportunity to work at the Capitol in, for the legislature. So I worked for the assembly for a few years, and kind of throughout that entire process, I was also able to pick up enough credits to pick up a minor in government, and also definitely got me more and more involved in kind of the entire legislative process, public service, and all those different pieces. So it's been a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you kind of have an idea that you might want to go into government someday and that's how you sought that route, or was that something that you just kind of stumbled upon living in Sacramento,
Yeah.
obviously the capital?
Yeah. I'd always been involved in some way, shape, or form, primarily around community service. That's
Okay.
always been kind of the biggest focus for me. So it wasn't just necessarily, hey, I want to just go run for office just to run for office. It was always about, even whether it was in high school and being a part of the Key Club in high school, or student government, and eventually just kind of being more and more a part of community organizations, and just being a resource for your community has
Hmm.
always kind of been the biggest thing for me. And then moving into college, it made it nice because of the stuff I did in high school. I had relationships in Sacramento that, I was able to kind of step into, and that just exposed me to more things. But even when we came back home, and I started even with my own business and started to get involved in the community, it wasn't that I necessarily wanted to gravitate immediately into government as much
Hmm.
as, really my first um, kind of my first step into anything public wise was actually with the chamber. And that's kind of
Okay.
where everything really started. And just being a part of the chamber, then eventually getting on some of the committees. I ended up, of course, chairing the governmental affairs committee for the
Right.
chamber, then being on the board. And then kind of from there, continuously learning more and more about what is needed, what are kind of the resources, what are the types of things that I can just help bring to our community.
Sure.
And that's kind of what saw me get on the planning commission, and that was kind of the next step. And then eventually becoming the city treasurer, and then in my current role as a city council member and now mayor. So it's one of those things I tell people, those who ever want to get involved in public life, it's not somehow this huge race. It really comes down to
Right.
how can you be effective in your community. What do you bring that helps connects dots, and it's all about trying to make sure that hopefully we're making a difference.
So it definitely that community aspect is important. So
Mm-hmm.
would you say that that might be a piece of advice that you would give someone who's interested in learning and either being involved with the government or
Mm-hmm.
running or whatever it may be?
Absolutely. It's we need people to help, and it's not always a member on the city council. We need
Hmm.
people to be on our committees. We need people to be a part of the different volunteer organizations to just kind of make everything collectively run. And so for those people that are interested, it's one of those, hey, take an opportunity to get involved at a committee level. Being
Sure.
on the planning commission was huge for me. It allowed me to learn. It allowed me to be familiar with the types of things that if I did, when I did take those next steps, I was aware of what to do next. and how to navigate, and also to be effective in the community, not just kind of, hey, let's see if I can learn on the job. It's like, no, I actually knew what I was doing when I was able to step into the role. And
Right.
so that's the piece that I feel is important for a lot of people is that, hey, take an opportunity to learn. We need people who aren't just trying to learn on the job all the time. We need people that know what they're up to and know how they can be as effective as possible if that's something they want to step into down the road.
So where would someone learn about the committees that you're talking about, planning commission, whatever it may be?
Mm-hmm.
Is that something easily accessible onto the website? Is it something that people can just come and say, hey, Mayor, I'm interested in this. What path do you think I should take?
All of it. It could
All of the
be
above.
talking to all of the above. So it can absolutely be going onto the website. Now, of course, they are appointed terms for a lot of the committees that we have. So it
Okay.
might be something that every year, usually there are a few committee member positions that are up. So it's not a problem in terms of being able to get on a committee. It really just, go through the application process. The council will do interviews for those who are interested. And then if we have the available slots on those committees, then we will pull new people on and go ahead and ask them to serve. So what you'll also notice, though, is that a lot of times, I know the chamber's done this. I've done this on my own Facebook page. The city will do this on their social media outlets. We'll let people know when committee
Mm-hmm.
openings are happening. So that's the other thing, too, is just kind of paying attention as things go. Another really good thing, just to kind of get a little bit of a feeling of what's going on, is our Community Institute. So the
Mm-hmm.
Concord Community Institute has been really great for people to really learn what goes on in our city, but then they give you an opportunity to kind of get exposed to them to different committees and even possibly look at some point to sign up for the committees. So.
Can you explain what that is a little bit? It's how long is that institute? What exactly does it entail? Because I think
Um,
William, he's with us. He's gone through it before, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So the Institute, usually I think it's like a 6-week program. And we try to take you through every single department. So you really get an opportunity to see what is going on with Public Works, what is going on with Park and Rec. And then of course there's a council component. So we'll kind of take you through the day in the life and what's going on with us. And
Sure.
so we'll try to, just share with you some of the things that are going on. But then, it gives you a really good chance. Hey, here's finance. These are all things that are going on in finance. Here's all the things that, you should be aware of. So, and police department, same thing. So it's kind of like this field trip as well. You get an opportunity to go from location to location throughout the city
Mm-hmm.
and get a hands-on approach to all the different things that we get to deal with on a regular basis.
That's nice to be able to go through it too. And sometimes seeing if someone can shadow you, sometimes it's easier to truly understand, like, okay, this is really what they might be dealing with on a day-to-day basis, having that real life vision of it. So Kevin had asked, this is actually a good question that kind of goes with what advice would you give someone looking to into it, is how do you stay so passionate about your community service? And do you ever talk to the local schools or colleges to kind of get that jump start and maybe pique some interest?
Mm-hmm. If given the opportunity, I will try to do that outreach to local schools and different organizations to let people know about it. It is something, and just like I mentioned, it's like, hey, I want you to be involved in the committee. I want you to be involved in some aspect of your community.
Mm-hmm.
It can be all kinds of different things, whether it's Kiwanis or Rotary, it could be Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. There's all different ways to just get involved. And
Right.
it doesn't always have to be at the highest of levels. That's the other piece, is that, we need people just in your own neighborhoods to
Mm-hmm.
be able to just help do certain things. Is it just organize a community cleanup? That's something that's constantly needed. So there's all kinds of ways to serve, but it's also, it's nice to be able to share that message. And sometimes we do try to get out to the local high schools and let people know, and colleges, let people know about, hey, these are the opportunities that present themselves.
Right.
We hope you can take advantage of them.
I think it's especially good for sometimes you have students that are graduating seniors from high school or even starting, say, at a community college or even at a 4-year institution or a trade school that might not exactly know what path they want to take. So it's nice to have those speakers come in and really then hear from them, and then it might pique some interest that way too.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's happened
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah, and it's not. There's so many things going on out there. Remember, too, we also have, as even though I'm on the city council, I'm the mayor right now, I still have a day job, right? So this isn't a full-time thing. And I see there's also, of course, definitely, questions about what does it look like in terms of how does it integrate into your everyday life? What is this?
Right.
How does this actually work? And there is a certain place where you do have to make sure that it works for your family. It has to work personally and professionally to have all of these things kind of come in line so that you can be effective as well. And so from my standpoint, my family has been my rock. There's just absolutely no way I'd be able to do this without Michelle, my wife, and my 3 kids, and my mother and father-in-law, and my mom and dad. It's like all the different things that I get involved with, or, when we were meeting and having meetings upon meetings and different events and all those different things, it's not easy to always be able to do that. And so
Right.
you find yourself needing to lean on a lot of people to be able to make it to those different things. And it is definitely a group effort.
And I think it's also fun for us as a community to see the family come together and help, because it creates that warm feeling from your city that your leadership does care, that their family cares, and they want to help see the city succeed as much as they can. And if they can put into it, and who knows, your kids might go into government because of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. And that's the thing. The message from my side has always been, look, I'm here, a multi-generation in the city of Concord, and it's about my kids and my nieces and nephews, and my entire family is in this as well. And so it's trying to make sure that this is the absolute best place it can possibly be.
Right.
Trying to take everybody into account, and it's not always easy. I mean, there are hundreds of competing interests. There's hundreds of different things that you're always trying to make sure what makes sense for the greater good of everybody as we're trying to just move ourselves forward, inch ourselves forward.
Right.
And it's not always simple, but I do love the fact that it's nice to also not just be council member all the time and mayor all the time. It's like, look, I can be dad as well. I
Right.
can be husband as well. I can do all those different things and still go out and play with the kids at the different parks, and know that I'm enjoying them, and hopefully, as much as I'm able to enjoy them, every member of my community is able to enjoy them too.
Right.
And making sure we have those amenities and all those different things that we truly enjoy doing.
So how do you find the time? You have 3 kids. And for those who were on at the beginning of this, we were hearing about kindergarten in Bob's books. You have a day job, you work for State Farm, and you are mayor of the city. So how do you balance all of that? And how do you have time to sleep?
So sleeping is overrated. And, but again, it really comes down to having the ability professionally to have a lot of flexibility as well. That's really what goes into a lot of this, is being able to kind of flex my time throughout an entire day. And it means that honestly, you are constantly working. There is no off day in a lot of cases. And so you'll find yourself, it's 6 a.m. to, 1 o'clock in the morning. I
Right.
mean, it's all over the board, but you just kind of roll with it and do your best. And somehow you find the time. Somehow you also just make it work. But the other piece too is it also comes down to having incredible people around you.
Sure.
And so that's the other piece too, is that, not just having an incredible family, but then also having incredible staff, having incredible community partners, having people that make it to where I'm not the only one having to make this lift. I'm not the only one having to make these things happen. And I think that even kind of comes full circle to the relationship that look at what's gone over the last 9 weeks, right?
Right.
With everything that's gone on, and all of us collectively within the city, within the business community, all the way across, everybody's trying to figure out, like, okay, what do we do next? How do we manage all these different pieces that are so extremely difficult? And what do? We all figured out a way to immediately get each other virtually around a table, lean on each other, and figure out a way to move forward. But that's also how it works.
Right.
And that's how this comes together.
And, I think we're very lucky as a chamber that we have a very close working relationship with the city and each of the council members and the mayor, vice mayor, and really the city staff as well. I appreciate everything that I've learned from all of you guys too, that how can we work together and make it the best community, business community at large, whatever it is, for our residents and for our businesses. So that collaboration piece is huge. And you had talked about us coming together around a table virtually. And we've implemented programs such as the Neighbor Express and the Concord Cares, the Concord Eats. So how do those ideas come to fruition? How did they get into your brain? And then what does that look like for implementation? Because for some of these programs we started at the beginning of the shelter in place, we were able to implement them fairly quickly.
Mhm.
So what does that look like?
You know, that's one of those pieces that I do. I can't say enough about all of my community partners, and I kind of look back to whether it be Let's Stand Up Neighbor Express
Mm-hmm.
as quickly as possible because we needed a program to help our seniors who weren't able to make it out of the house and had food insecurities, and we wanted to make sure we gave them something right away. Or the Helping Hands program, right, kind of tied into that same
Right.
thing. You know, we understand people aren't able to do these different tasks, but it really came down to being able to go, okay, I have this idea, I've got these great partners, and I know who to make phone calls to in times of emergency. So it's being able to pick up the phone and being able to work with collectively the chamber, visit Concord, talking to our partners in Mount Delaware Unified School District,
Mm-hmm.
and then even as simple as, hey, we need a website, we need to be able to put these other resources together. It's kind of having some friends all over the place. And in this
Mm-hmm.
case, it was like, look, a good friend of mine, he works at Apple. I call him, hey, I need to get this specific thing made. Okay,
Right.
great. He says, hey, did you know about, Code for America and U.S. Digital Response Team? No, I didn't. Okay, great. We get them connected, and all of a sudden, we've got something stood up. And then of course, we're leaning on Caitlin Sly and Meals on Wheels and working with her very, very closely. And so she's able to help. Kind of all of us now are sitting around that table going, okay, this is how we're going to do this. And we were able to stand it up literally in a matter of days. So
Yeah, it was
something that would
quick.
normally take everybody, weeks or months to stand up a program like that. And you look at even kind of like what's going on with the governor right now. The governor's trying to stand up literally the exact same program that we've already implemented and we've had in place for
Right.
the last 6 weeks, and it hasn't been implemented. Ours got stood up overnight because Caitlin helped make that work with Meals on Wheels. Knowing Dominic Macchia over at Mount Delaware Unified School District, we're able to make that work immediately. Having good support from the Chamber and Visit Concord, having good support from my fellow colleagues and the city of Concord, being able to kind of put that plan together quickly and be able to get it out was amazing. But that's what it takes. It's kind of over, even though we go to all these different events, the networking is so important. Being
Right.
able to, when it really, really matters, to know who your partners are and who you can lean on and who you can stand stuff up with quickly, that's how we're able to make it through a lot of these, issues and crises and problems that come up. Having those relationships.
And the chamber, I just love seeing those relationships happen. If I know I can connect someone with another community partner and have something thrive because of that, I know we're doing our job. So I truly appreciate all of our partners too. I also know that, if someone says, hey, I need this, great, we have 10 members that can help you with that. And so it's really good, like you said, the collaboration and networking and really getting to know who is in your community is so
Mm-hmm.
important.
Mm-hmm. And I'll even take a step back further. I know we're kind of going back a number of years ago, but it even comes back to things like when I actually started restarted the entire Fourth of July stuff. I use that as another example of we only had literally 3 months to put something together that
Right.
that has never been done before. There was no playbook. We had no clue what the heck we were doing, except for guess what? I'm going to make a bunch of phone calls to everybody that I possibly know, every resource that that I've worked with over the many, many years of making that all happen. And lo and behold, we managed to stand something up
Right.
in the shortest amount of time that most people looked at me like they thought I was absolutely crazy. And so, but that's kind of sometimes where you just kind of go, but that's what we do.
Right.
And that's
Absolutely.
why you continue to build these relationships, and that's why they're so incredibly important. But you think of it even from a business perspective. It's from my standpoint of standing things up in government and being able to implement things in my community. But even from that business perspective, right? How many people have we had an opportunity to meet with within the chamber that have helped each other out when there's
Right.
a time of crisis or somebody needs another product or service, or being able to find those resources in our own business lives? It's been so incredibly important. And so that's why it's like, hey, people,
Absolutely.
you need to take the opportunity to get to know your neighbor. Don't just be a wallflower when you're at something. For goodness sake, take the time to figure out who's a part of our community. Chances are they may save your business one day too,
Sure.
and you don't know what opportunity might come from that.
And you never know who you're going to need 20 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
And so William preaches this all the time, and I'm sure a lot of you on here who are members of ours have heard William say this, is even if we're having an event and the content doesn't necessarily pertain to you, always think about who will be in the room. What connections can
Mm-hmm.
I be making at that meeting? Even if it's an hour of something that does not mean anything to my business, who am I going to meet? Because again, you'll never know when you need to make that call to get fireworks in downtown, because that's
Yeah.
what the community does.
Right. That's it. And that's exactly it. You never know what might present itself. What big idea comes out of you all of a sudden going to something?
Right.
Does all of a sudden the path of what you decided to do today change because you went to a chamber meeting and all of a sudden you heard some new type of way of doing something that totally changed the course of your business? And so, and those are the type of things that, I enjoy going to the different meetings and experiencing new things, getting an opportunity to be exposed to so many different things. And it allows me to then take that back and go, how can I implement
Mm-hmm.
in that my own organization? How can we make the city better? How can I make my community even down to my street? What does that look like
Right.
on an ongoing basis?
I mean, even these Margarita Mondays, and if you've been following us from the beginning for all of this, for everyone that's watching right now, this all started because I watched a Instagram live from Empire Barbershop. Derek Matos, the owner, was speaking with one of his barbers that opened up his own shop down in San Diego, and that's how it spurred this. Is I loved the fact that he was getting to know someone that he had mentored and helped him thrive in his own career. And so that was kind of what got me thinking about what could we do to feature our members, get to know who our community partners are. We had the Pioneer on last week. We talked a lot about stories and advertising. So I'm hoping that spurred some of that within some of our chamber members saying, great, the Pioneer is a great resource that I know I can go to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is one of those products.
Well, and the thing is that, what people don't understand is that it doesn't always have to be in times of need. It can be just in good times as well.
Yeah.
But it's okay to reach out. And sometimes I feel like people tend to not think they maybe do need the help, or they reach out too late. And it's like, look, don't call me when the ship is already taking on water and it's going down. Okay.
That's huge.
It might be rough waters. Great. Call me during that time. Let me know how I can help you. And it's not just it's not just the chamber. I don't mind. I would love it if our business owners would give me a call and say, hey,
yeah,
I need help. Hey, can I run an idea by you? Hey, can we talk about, one idea or another? I'm thinking of this. I would love that. And some business owners have done that. But
right.
but think about all the things that we've done, even during the shelter in place and having to work with the different restaurant owners and talking about how are you going to do something differently today? How are you going to pivot? How are you going to change the way that you're able to get things going, get your message out? I mean, look at Fiore is a perfect example of that, right? I mean, I love using him as the example because it's like, look, I remember sitting down with him when this thing first happened and said, okay, how are you going to change your menu? How are you going to change your approach? How are you going to let people know about you? What does that look like? And sure enough, he's online. He's been able to get out there.
Yeah.
He's changed his menu up. He's made it user friendly. It's trying to get everybody to do the same thing. I mean, that's kind of been the talk as I'm going and talking with some of the other restaurant owners as well. It's like, I get it. This is not an easy time, but this is that time to shine and be as creative as possible to figure out how to get your product or service out in front of people in a way you've never done it before. And there's no more comfort zone anymore.
Yep.
It's not easy. And we
followed that too. From the beginning of this, we've been saying the same thing to all of our members is, even if you just want to chat with us to brainstorm ideas, we're here for you. I want to break down all barriers. We're here for business. We want the businesses to succeed. It is trying times right now, and we want to help you get through those.
Yeah. And it's not easy. And but it is. That's the thing. There's more resources than people think. And
Absolutely.
maybe if they lean on you or they give me a call, it's like, look, I am more than happy. And I've said this to all of our different restaurant owners that are out there. I'm more than happy to come out. I'd love to shoot like a little commercial for them. I've done already 11 different shout outs to restaurants in Concord. I'm more than happy to come out and do it, you know, for anybody at this point.
Right.
I love doing them. I love being able to highlight the different restaurants that we have. And it's like the least I can do at this point in time, just to try to draw attention and make people know that, hey, you guys are open and you're ready. You're ready. You know, give these folks a call.
So I'm actually going to shift to that now. You're definitely on social media. You're on Instagram Live now. You're on Instagram. You're on Facebook. You're on Twitter. You're on LinkedIn. You're everywhere. So what value do you see using social media in your leadership type of role?
My biggest goal is to make sure that people have the message that they're looking for. And so whether it be, you know, it doesn't always have to be that super serious message. Sometimes it's okay to have a little fun and smile a little bit. But my biggest push, especially on my mayor's Facebook page, tends to be, look, if we have important information when, you know, there's a food resource event going on, we want to make sure people know about that, because maybe there's no other way that they get it except for Facebook. Or shelter in place. Hey, phase 2, we're moving into that. Those orders just went out today. Dr. Farnatano did a little video. So it's trying to make sure we shared that, because maybe the people everybody doesn't know about how, you know, weren't able to find that same resource at the county website. So it's being able to figure out, how do I share that information to people so that you have what you're looking for? And I know, you know, Chamber, you guys do a great job of that as well.
Thank you.
And that's kind of been our big push, is collectively making sure that if the Chamber isn't sharing it, or if Visit Concord isn't sharing it, or the city of Concord, or myself, or one of my other council members isn't sharing it, it's like, well, then there's clearly some kind of gap. But for goodness sakes, if you follow one of those, you know, 5 or 6 areas, I hope you're informed. And that's the biggest thing at this point, is making sure that everybody has the information they need. Not to mention, I enjoy getting comments back. I also enjoy, hey, don't mind direct messaging me. It's okay to give me a call. We want to make sure that we're addressing the needs and making sure that we're paying attention if there's something that went unnoticed, or we didn't see something, or we need help. It also hopefully helps us be more places by being a part of the different social media channels, because again, you know, I've got 30 square miles and you know, a lot of distance to cover around the city. I can't be everywhere, but sometimes people can help be my eyes and ears as well, and make sure that if there's something that goes on, I can be there for them as well.
Right. And even just sharing it. I mean, a lot of the times when you put out those restaurant videos, I share it because I can't get down there, and you've already covered it. So it's great that we can share all those resources between each other. And to your point too about people direct messaging you, another thing I've always appreciated about our city and the council members and you as mayor is that you are very accessible, I feel, to the community and to the public, that you try to be as open as you can and be everywhere that you can to hear those messages and questions and field those. I think that shows that our community does really want to make sure that we are providing the best information that we can, and we're trying to keep everyone informed.
Well, and the thing is that, I mean, we all know that there is a competing media out there that says messages in many different ways. Okay. And so my goal is, look, I'm the guy down the middle, just telling you exactly what's actually happening.
Right.
Here it is. This is what we're doing. This is how we're moving forward. These are the steps we're taking. And this is what we're trying to accomplish, period. Like, not trying to put a spin on it, we're trying to just make sure you've got honest, good, solid information from me to you. And that's kind of the goal in all this as well, is making sure that everybody's getting the information that they're looking for. And you know, we look at like the town halls that we've been doing over the last 9 weeks, right? The town halls have been trying to make sure that we're bringing back that information to the community in the most honest and simple manner. And a big hats off to, of course, my partners. I have to shout out to, you know, both Melissa and Kevin and Elaine at Visit Concord as well. Every single call for the last 9 weeks, along with my city manager, Valerie Brony, and a number of other community partners we've had on those town halls. But that's a great example of just trying to make sure that maybe if I'm not able to have that conversation with people throughout the week, we're at least trying to bring forward the most pertinent information that I felt, or all of us, you know, because we have an opportunity to kind of talk about the information we're going to share on that Saturday. What kind of information we can bring forward that's important to the community.
Right. Yeah, like this past Saturday, we had Kaiser, John Muir, we had a dentist, we had orthopedics. So that alone is also information that some people might not be as easily accessible to. But if we can, like you said, bring that forward to the community, that helps solidify the information, and you're hearing it straight from the source.
Yeah, and there's no national message around what we brought forward, but the goal is to try to just say, hey, locally, guys, access the hospital, right? That was
Right.
the message. The message was healthcare is open. You know, make sure that you're taking an opportunity to take care of yourself. It's probably safer that going to Kaiser or going to John Muir than it is, you know, going to the grocery store at this point.
Right.
And it's okay to go to some of your specialties. And I know, you know, we brought the dentist in just because it's that other specialty that's
Right.
getting ready to open here pretty soon. But that's the message, right? We had Dr. Farnatano on the week before, talking about the different health messages and kind of his reasoning and his thought behind it, because we don't always get a chance to see those people too.
Right.
And so that's been the goal, is to try to bring people forward and get a chance to meet and greet with them, ask them questions. And I feel like we've been able to do that over the last few weeks and bring that information forward. Hopefully it's helpful. And again, if anybody wants other information, we're more than happy to provide it to them.
Yeah.
Or any ideas for some of the other future town hall meetings. Again, more than happy to look at that stuff.
Let us know.
That's it.
So aside from all of the shelter in place and COVID, are there any other challenges that you face as mayor?
The biggest challenge right now, I would say, is as we were implementing shelter in place, you know, trying to kind of get a hold on this. But now that we're moving into the phase 2, phase 3, and slowly moving into what we consider open, that part is so incredibly challenging, because of course, as you see different parts of the state open up,
Right.
people in Concord aren't quite sure what to do right now, or they're getting frustrated or upset about different pieces. And it's like, you're trying to kind of explain to them, it's like, look, the thing that, and that piece I've gotten a lot of people kind of contacting me going, why aren't we open yet? What's going on? And it's like, look, you know, short of me saying, look, I am trying to do everything I can that's in your best health, and for the best health and well-being of you personally. Now, I'm not allowed to make that call, so I want to make sure that's very, very clear.
Right.
I am not allowed to open Concord. Okay, just in case anybody was curious, because I know I've gotten a lot of questions around that. I am not allowed to open Concord. That is Dr. Farnatano's call, and his alone, you know, and unelected doctor who is really trying to do his best to make good decisions. And I think, you know, and if you look at what's going on even today, we moved into phase 2, which is probably 2 weeks earlier than we thought we were going to. So at least things are happening and we're moving in the right direction, which is good. But those are some of the challenges of just trying to, I get it. You know, we see the struggle, we see what's going on. We know this has been difficult for everybody. And I feel I see it with everybody that's out there. This is not easy. And I completely understand that. But the goal is, hopefully, as we continue to get back open, we don't have to shut down again, and we don't see a resurgence of this virus, and we don't start, you know, picking off people and watching, you know, death rates just completely get out of control, because, you know, we all of a sudden we did such a good job and we flattened that curve in Contra Costa County. Then let's not make it all for naught. And so that's the piece that it's like, I get it, you know, different parts of the county or different parts of the country are maybe opening up differently. But we also have to be careful, because you look at places like Texas and you look at places like Georgia, they opened up really quickly, but all of a sudden what happened? They're seeing a complete relapse and resurgence of the virus in those areas.
Right.
And so I would say that's probably one of the toughest questions that I get at this point of, you know, where are we going, where are we headed? And it's like, look, we're going to get there. And people don't want to say we're going to get there when we get there, but we're going to get there when it makes the most medical sense to do so that we can keep you open, and we don't have to keep open and then close, open and close. Like, let's make sure we can get open. We've got all the guidelines in place. The testing's happening the way testing's supposed to be happening. We've got all the PPE out to the proper businesses that are supposed to have them. You know, and I get people, oh, don't wear masks. Look, wear masks. Wear the proper things. You know, it's like, do you want to continue to live at home for the next 6 months, or do you want to go ahead and let's open this place, let's open Concord back up, but we're going to take all the proper precautions to do so. Let's do that. And that's one of those pieces that it's like, look, if you want to be a part of the solution, let's be a part of the solution. We can move to getting open, and we can find the solution quicker if everybody's on board. And you can't have people, with conflicting opinions on this.
Right.
So, and of course, from my standpoint too, now, outside of that, now we're going to move into the other parts that are going to be difficult on my job, is trying to figure out, we've taken a huge financial impact from this. We've taken a huge financial hit where the city's lost somewhere between $5 to $7 million in general fund revenue. And so now, that's just this year alone before we finish out June. And then into next year, we're going to lose another maybe 10, 15, $20 million, which could be upwards of 20% of our budget. So now the city has to really work hard to figure out, how are we going to make up those budget gaps? How are we going to figure it out to be able to provide the different types of services to our residents that they've come to expect and deserve? But so the economics of it are extremely challenging. And so that's the part that, that part keeps me up at night, because you think about, yes, we've had to furlough some people. Yes, we may have to do layoffs. We are probably going to have to adjust the way city services are provided. We're going to have to probably cut back some programs. So all those pieces really, make it tough, because, being in Concord, we've had a great opportunity because we have a lot of great programs. We have a lot of good people that put together fun and exciting activities and events and all these different things that we do, because that's what we're so accustomed to. But there's going to, unfortunately, probably be some changes moving forward.
Right.
So again, those are the pieces that you thoroughly love, but now we're going to figure out how to kind of do things differently.
Right. So you definitely have a lot on your plate, as we all just heard from that. How do you de-stress from all of this? Because like you said, this might keep you up at night. You have a lot on you between the shelter in place and businesses and the city budget and your own business and family as well. So what do you do to kind of ease your mind from that? And mental health is something that we've all been talking about, that is so important right now, to make sure we're all keeping in our minds where we should be.
Yeah. And I hope that through all of this, I get it that, for some families, this has been pretty trying times. And it has been pretty darn difficult. But, there's a lot of other families that are out there that are fortunate enough that hopefully this has been one of those opportunities that everybody's been able to kind of reconnect with your family, reconnect with the people that are in your house, be able to reconnect with your kids. And I laugh because, even last night, man, we had a rousing game of Hungry Hippo.
Oh my gosh.
And so, that was pretty awesome. And playing the game Headbands, okay, with all five of us.
Love it.
Just at home, and just trying to have, the family game night, and whether it be, try to watch a movie, have dinner at the dinner table every evening. Those are the pieces that you take for granted, that hopefully this has kind of allowed people to kind of reconnect a little bit and be appreciative of that. And I get everybody's situation is extremely different, but hopefully some people have been able to kind of just step back for a minute, and they didn't have to go to that extra event tonight. They don't have to go to 9 more things this week, or their job has now literally put them at home, and they've had an opportunity to, while it's crazy that I'm going through kindergarten every single morning, I also I enjoy spending that time with my daughter, who's 5. Right. So it's pluses and minuses as we go along, and we're doing our best, because of course there are definitely times that you're just at your wit's end, and you're just trying to figure out, how in the heck do people do this? And you, for goodness sakes, appreciate every single teacher that's out there. You can't thank them enough. But I've also been able to, I do enjoy the projects around the house. Boy, we've been able to get all kinds of projects done at this point.
Nice.
And so that part's been a lot of fun. And I laugh because, I'm at the hardware store even this weekend, and I bump into another fellow elected, making his way through the hardware store too, picking a few things up there, taking on a little bit bigger projects than usual outside of just a quick little clean this, fix this. And so that part's been fun. I mean, I enjoy projects. I really do around the house, and I enjoy, using tools. So that stuff's a lot of fun.
So when you're not sheltering in place, what do you like to do on your free time? You obviously like the project side, but is there other things
Yeah.
that you like to do that you can't maybe wait to do once we do open back up a little bit more?
I laugh. Even though it's open, it still doesn't mean I've been able to get out to it. But I would love to actually have an opportunity to go play a little golf, which would be
Oh,
great. But I would say that the one thing that I normally do during this time that actually has been pretty tough this year. I am also a coach. I'm a track coach
yeah.
for Clayton Valley High School, and so I coach the throws, usually shot put and discus with the kids, and that part's been really tough because that's also been the outlet as well,
Yeah.
and so that's been one of those fun outlets that I've enjoyed coaching. And being out there, a few nights a week, and then on weekends, usually we're at a track meet. And so that's one of those outlets that during track season that is a lot of fun that I do look forward to. But yeah, so right now it's still been tough to try to get out and do too many things. So
I am just so amazed at how much you do between the mayor and, like I said, your job and your family and coaching, and you're members of, the Kiwanis Club and the League of Cities, and it's amazing really what you do for our community.
well, I've been fortunate. That's how I look at it, and they're just different things I have passions for, and maybe sometimes people look at me like I run crazy, but I truly enjoy all those different elements, and they all kind of tie back to the mission of the different things that I enjoy truly doing, which is making sure that Concord is the absolute best place we can live, work, play, and and so I look at all the things that I've been exposed to and all the places that I've been able to go, and even things like you mentioned, League of Cities, and so League of Cities is also between the League of Cities, and I'm also part of the U.S. Conference of Mayors.
Hmm.
And that actually has just been incredibly amazing, and probably one of my biggest support groups during this time. And so over the course of the last 9 weeks, they're mayors from all over the country. We actually get together every single week on a conference call and talk about all the different things that are going on to be able to help just kind of manage what this
Right.
looks like. And we've had and I've been fortunate to be able to have conversations with people like President Obama and President Clinton and President Bush have all been a part of this working group. Mike Bloomberg is actually the one of the people that kind of helps spearhead this,
Wow.
and so we literally have conversations around the table around what's going on in your city, and maybe did you set up a program that I can use, or do I have a
Right.
program that you can use? Neighbor Express is a good example of that. A number of cities through this have used Neighbor Express in their city as well, because we developed it out here and we kind of showed them what it looked like, and they went, great, thank you. And so it's being used in other parts of the country. But those are all things that I just feel extremely fortunate to be a
Yeah.
part of, and it helps me kind of make sure, hey, am I doing this right? And I'm moving in the right direction, and we have some good people to lean on. So
Absolutely.
it's been,
And I think this Wednesday there's actually a panel discussion with you and a few other surrounding mayors, correct?
there is, yeah, I believe maybe, Walnut Creek is supposed to be on the
Hmm.
call. And I believe Mayor Halbert from Dublin is also on the call with us. The
Okay.
four of us are doing a little roundtable as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll try to share that out for everyone so you
Okay.
can go onto our Facebook page. And if you are able to attend and register for it, I think it'll be good to hear same thing from the other cities and see what
Hmm.
they're doing and how they're adapting right now.
Yeah, and that's it. We really try hard to work collaboratively, especially in Contra Costa County. We do a good job in terms of making sure we all know each other. All the different councils and mayors do
Right.
know each other in Contra Costa County, and so that part's been very helpful when it comes time. Again, resources, knowing who to lean on, and building up over the last 10 years or so of knowing a lot of these people, to where then when the time comes, you need to know how to lean on them for help,
Right.
or be able to offer help as well, right?
Absolutely.
So,
We do the same thing with our local chambers too. We know
hmm
all of the chamber staff. We try to meet as much as we can, even if it is quarterly. But collaboration is key. I think that's been kind
hmm
of the theme through all of this is having your networks available. Like you said, you never know what programs will be able to be spread throughout the nation just because it worked in our city and
Mm-hmm.
other cities say that will work in my city as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's it.
East Bay Wine Enthusiast. It'll be online. The link that we share, again, I'll try to share it out right after this onto our Facebook page, and it'll have the link where you can register, and it'll tell you exactly where it is. I don't think it's Zoom, if I remember correctly, but
No,
it's
it's not.
another,
Yeah, it's a different platform.
yeah, it's another streaming type platform.
Yeah.
Well, if there's no other questions, I kind of went through. We appreciate your time with us today and getting to know you a little bit
Yeah,
better.
thank you.
I think, a lot of people always see the mayor and running around and doing the important mayor stuff that you do. But it's also nice to get to know you on a more of a personal level too.
Well, and that's why I appreciate these kind of interactions at times too. It's like, look, you know what? I'm just somebody else. I'm just another person in Concord who lives here and enjoys spending time with my family, going to the parks and going to the different events and activities, hopefully when we have them again.
Yeah.
And, it's just trying to make things work for all of us day by day.
Just one last quick thing. Thank you, Kevin, for reminding me. Tomorrow night from 4:30 to 6:30, our chamber, the mayor will be there. We're all partnering with the Novato, Alameda chambers, doing it with Marin County, a joint effort to learn a little bit more about what the other neighboring counties and chambers are doing as well. So that information is also on our Facebook. So thank you, Kevin, for reminding me about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sidegate Brewing, we do offer ribbon cuttings. I'm trying to figure out how we can do them virtually. But yes, definitely something. Email me. I'll try to put my email if I don't knock over my screen. But yes,
or
ribbon
your margarita.
cuttings, yeah, the most important thing right now.
Yeah. Can't wait to do ribbon cutting for Sidegate Brewing.
Yes. So the ribbon
that.
cuttings are a lot of fun. The mayor
Yeah.
usually comes out and says some words of encouragement for opening. We bring out our members, the community members. If you want to have a party, make it a party when we can have parties. But
we'll have a
ribbon
socially
cuttings are a lot of fun.
distanced party.
Yes.
So we look forward to it.
We'll try to figure it out over Zoom. All right, everyone. Thank you for another Margarita Monday. We are taking a break next week just because it is Memorial Day, so we will not be in the office on Monday. But the following week, we will be back on with Shelby Walker from Visit Concord, which is our destination marketing organization here for Concord, trying to bring people here. So June 1st, that'll be that. And thank you again, Tim. We appreciate you for joining us tonight.
All right. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. All right. Talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.